Okay, so this is all just additional practice. It's extra. You do not have to do this, but it might help you be ready for your project tomorrow. So, first one, we're looking at this pattern, and it just says what sequence is made. So let's first figure out how many there are in each. Here I'm seeing this is 6 and 2, so I get a total of 8. And then over here it looks like I'm adding just like this row, like here was my original bit. And so I'm adding 3 more, so that would get me 11. And then here's figure 2, and I'm adding 3 more, so that would get me 14. So it looks like every single time I am adding 3, not 8, 3, adding 3, etc. So my sequence is going to be 8, 11, 14. If I want to keep going, then you can. 17, 20, 23, dot, dot, dot. Okay, and then a formula or equation for this. Remember, to get the formula or equation, we need that 0th number, so like whatever thing would be right here, if we went backward one. And if you did 8 and you subtracted 3, that would get us 5. So that's my, if we call this like f of 0. And then when I'm adding, I'm adding 3 each time. So my formula, because this is arithmetic, because I'm just adding every time, I'm not multiplying, this would get me, we'll call it f of x is equals my 0 number, so 5 plus 3x. That's what an x looks like. That's my formula. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next one. This one is, so we've got 4 here, and then it looks like that's doubling here, so I have 8, and then that's doubling again, so it looks like I've got 4, 8, 16. Okay, so that's my pattern, is sequence, 16, I would double that again, I would get 32, then 64, then 128, and every time I am multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2. Because if I did this again, I would have this whole thing doubled, so I'd have like 16 and 16. Okay. Again, just like before, we need to get that like 0th number. So if I went back, I would have to divide by 2, and that number would be a 2. So my geometric pattern is now going to be g of x is equal to my 0th number, which is 2, times, in this case, what I'm multiplying by, 2 to the x. There is my geometric sequence. Cool. Let me know if you have questions about any of those. But let's move on to the next step. Okay. Up here, I just gave you a couple of patterns, and I just want you to tell me, are they arithmetic or geometric? I labeled the first ones for you. This one's going up by 1 every time, so it's arithmetic. This one is doubling every time, so it's geometric. So let's look here. We've got a half, and then 1, and then 3 halves, and then 2, and then 5 halves, and 3, and 7 halves. I think it might be helpful if we did this on a number line quickly. So first let's put 0 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a half would be right here where we'd have 1/2. Then if you wanted to, you could think about adding a half every time. This would be like 2 halves. This would be 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves, etc. And so our sequence numbers are a half right here, 1 right there, 3 halves right there. Oh, well, it's just kind of following a pattern for me, right? And it's just going up a little bit every time, so it's going up by half. So that makes this one actually another arithmetic sequence. Okay, and we're just like adding a half. Here we were adding 1, here we were multiplying by 2. Now we've got a half, a fourth, an eighth, a 16th, a 32nd. So these are actually getting smaller, because if you're like half a pi, then a fourth of a pi, an eighth of a pi. And actually what we're doing here is we're multiplying by 1/2. So this one is geometric. And a good visual for that, if you want a visual, would be if you had like, here's my whole pie. First I get half of a pie. That's my 1/2. And then I'm going to get a 1/4 of the pie. That's my 1/4. And then I'm going to get an 1/8 of the pie. That is my 1/8. And notice how each piece is becoming, it's like, to get the next bit, I'm going to take half of what's left. I'm really multiplying by a half. Okay. Then we have -1, -5, -9, -13. Oh, if I put this on a number line, that is going to be very nice. So here's 0, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, -13. And I'm going down by 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm subtracting 4, and that means that this one is going to be also arithmetic. Okay. Here, it looks like I'm adding by 0.2 plus 0.2 plus 0.2. So this is also arithmetic. We're adding plus 0.2. Oh, this one's strange. 1, -7, 49, -343, 2,401. Well, if I, doesn't look like I'm adding because I'm going negative and positive, so this is like times -7. Oh, and then if I multiplied by -7 again, -7 times -7 is -49. I bet -49 times -7 is -343. So this one is geometric. And I'm multiplying by -7. Okay. Oh, and then here, we're just adding another 0 every time. That's like multiplying by 10, right? 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10 is 1,000. So this is also geometric. And we are multiplying by 10. Okay, cool. Let me know if you have any questions about those. Now it says graph the following data. And it says you can do this on Desmos if you want, or you could sketch it in a notebook. So if you wanted to, you could graph all of this on Desmos, and I will add a little video about that at the end of this. But let's just try to sketch it for ourselves. So I know, so we're going to graph this, and let's say I want to write days in October. So we want day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I need to get up to, let's see, we've got like 65 down to 62. So let's go all the way up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little fake jump here so that I can maybe label this as, let's go 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. And the reason that I made this little like fake skip is I'm telling whoever's looking at the graph, like, oh, I skipped a whole bunch of numbers, because you can't go from 0 just up to 60, but you can say like, okay, I'm only going to look here. And that's kind of like if on Desmos you said your x-axis under where it says like x-axis, if you said you want that to go from 0 less than x less than 6, that's what this part looks like. And if on your y-axis, let me give myself a little bit more space here. If you said on your y-axis, you wanted it to be like 59 less than or equal to y less than or equal to 65. That's basically what we've done here, is we just like, this right here would be like 59, and so it's kind of like we're skipping a whole bunch. Okay, so let's actually graph the numbers. Let's see, we got 165, so I'm going to go over to 1 and up to 65 and put a dot. And then we've got 264.5, so that's going to go halfway between 64 and 65, but right above the 2. 64.1 is going to be about there. 63.6 is going to be about there. 63.2, just a little bit above the 63, and then 62.7, a little bit below the 63. Okay, so now I've got it graphed. I can see, and you can see just here, like looking at the numbers, that this is slowly going down. So you can say once it's graphed, what can you say is that the temperatures go slowly down. Okay, cool. And you might want to add here like the average. No big deal. All right, and then it says this week, so like actually this week, I just got this data this morning, a day in October, and then the actual, so like yesterday it was 80, whereas like a couple of days ago it was 52, that was the high. So how does this compare? Well, if I was going to graph it, and what I might do here is cheat just a little bit. Yep, that's me cheating. Sorry, guys. The reason I'm cheating, is for a good reason. Because I know now I have to get, oh, it's not going to work because we have to go down to 56. Just kidding. Let's just sketch it again. So now I'm going to make my thing skip, and I'm going to go down to 50, 60, 70, 80. So this is going to be temp, and this is going to be day in October. And let's see. So here I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the first day it was 56, so that's going to be about there. On the second day it was 51, so it'll be about there. Then 52, then 56, then 70, and then 80. Okay, so this graph looks a lot different than the other one. This graph looks much different than this one. So when you're asked here, how does this compare to your graph of the average daily temperature, I would say this changes a lot more. The temp is not very predictable. And if you think about it, this is like average over many, many years, and this is just like what actually happens in a week, which can be kind of crazy. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully this helps. Your stuff on the quiz tomorrow on your project, tomorrow if you're in first hour or second hour, and Friday if you're in sixth hour, will be very similar. Let me know if you have questions.